So if you're doing research on Dallas apartments, maybe you want to live in the Uptown area. And more importantly, maybe you want to be right off of the Katy Trail, while also having awesome amenities, dope units, and 2 swimming pools. And if any or all of that is the case, you're going to want to check out this video. If it's your first time swinging by the channel, welcome. My name's Lucas. I'm a realtor here in Dallas. And every single day, I've got people hitting me up like you and 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 you, buying houses and renting apartments all throughout the Dallas area. So if you ever have any questions about anything that I cover, feel free to drop me a line. All of my information is below in the description, and I'd be more than happy to help answer any questions that you might have. So Gables has several properties in Dallas, and this one is probably the most unique. And I say that because Gables manages a decent amount of high rises here in the city. And this one is one of the few mid rises that they operate. And it has more of a Tuscan Spanish villa vibe, especially on the exterior. The exterior actually reminds me a lot of another property, 3111 Sunset, out near the lake, mainly because of the tile and the architecture, but all in all, pretty big fan of the location. We're in the heart of Uptown, and if you want to hit the Katy Trail, all you got to do is walk across Carlisle Street and you'll be right where you need to be. The chapters in this video will be laid out a little differently than what I typically do. Reason being, there's just so much to show off in and around the lobby, and I want you to get an idea of how some of the amenities are connected to the lobby and the leasing office. So kicking us off, this property was built in a series of phases. So phase 1 was built in 2006, phase 2 was built in 2007, and phase 3 was built in 2023, of which all 3 phases have been recently renovated, of which you'll get a feel for when we dive into some of the units. And this property has a whopping 601 units resting on 6 floors. So I want you to think about that for a second. That is among the highest I've seen thus far here in Dallas, but it's actually laid out quite nicely. On top of that, you've got 66 floor plans to choose from, which consists of studios, 1 bedrooms, 2 bedrooms, and just a few 3 bedrooms. And I'm going to cover all of the amenities, parking, a few of the floor plans, pricing, and some other things of which I think make this property unique. Down here off to the side of the lobby, there are a ton of amenities. So you just saw the golf simulator where homeboy in the Dwayne Wade jersey just striped it 250 yards down the middle. I think he was using a 6-iron, which is pretty impressive. Anyways, there's a lot of open seating in this area, as well as games. Initially, when you walk in through the entrance that we just saw, you do see some chairs, but I would only really use those if I was like waiting on an Uber or something, because it's just not as secure. But as we walk through deeper, the chairs get more comfortable, the tables get bigger, and you see booths. So pretty ideal for if you work from home, or if you just want to get out of your apartment and hang out, because you will also need key fob access to get back here. So it's pretty private and secure. I think I also saw a couple conference rooms down here, which were all in use. And there is also a kitchen area back here where you can either host or grab a cup of coffee between calls. And I also like the market touch here that they added in case you get the munchies. In terms of parking, there is a 7-floor parking garage attached to each phase. And if you want to get an idea of how it's laid out, feel free to go back to the beginning of the video and check out some of the aerials, because you've got entrances to the parking garage around the perimeter of the property. 7 floors total in the garage, and none of them are underground. So resident parking is 1 through 6, and then guests can park either out front or on the 7th floor. The bulk of guest parking is on the top floor, so if you have friends or family coming over, just make sure to direct them that way. And then you also have 8 EV chargers. 6 of them are Tesla branded, and then the other 2 are Blink branded. So keep that in mind if you're rocking with EV. And then here's the main bay of elevators near the leasing office. They've also got others situated throughout the property so you're not having to walk too much to get to your unit. First floor plan of the day, and this is pretty standard for an A1, so the smallest 1 bedroom. I wasn't able to get any of the studios in this video. As you can imagine, those are the most affordable and they get scooped up pretty quickly. Again, we're right here off of the trail, so it doesn't really surprise me a whole lot. But all in all, with these units, you'll see vinyl plank in the common areas and bedroom and closet, which I love. which makes it super convenient if you have the furry friends. And then we have tile in the bathrooms, stainless steel appliances in the kitchen, and your standard washer dryer. So you can get an idea of how they remodeled this. I believe we initially had carpet in the bedrooms, so it looks like they decided to upgrade, which doesn't really surprise me being this close to the trail. Majority of folks in this pocket of Dallas have pets, which just makes things easier in the long run. And for context, we are on the third floor in this unit and we're facing the pool area, so you'll see that as I walk out onto the balcony here in a second. But I'm a fan of how they remodeled these. They elected quartz countertop, which is pretty standard nowadays, so I love to see that, and your windows in the bedroom open in case you need some fresh air. I don't think I'd recommend this one for a couple. This space seems more ideal for a single guy or single lady, just like the majority of A1 floor plans for all of the buildings in Dallas. So keep that in mind as we move on to the next one. So this next one, we're gonna get a little more elbow room, comparing this to A3, nearly 300 square foot larger than what we just saw. And a lot of that additional square footage is coming from the dining room. And I think this kitchen is also larger. You also have a walk-in closet. The closet on the A1 was rather small, so this floor plan would be more ideal if you have that special loved one in your life. For me personally, this unit would not be ideal for someone like me. I'm more of a 2-bedroom type guy. I love having an additional room in my office. And on top of that, I'm single and heartbroken. So for a 1-bedroom, I just don't need this much space. But different strokes for different folks. We're all different. And depending on the stage of life you're in, this could be a good option for you, especially if you have a big dining table and want to have people over. There is also a desk built into the kitchen counter. Again, I'm not sure how I would feel about working here and staring at the wall, but you have it if you need it. And for context, this unit is on the first floor, so that's why it seems just a little bit darker in terms of natural light, while it is also facing the pool. Last but not least, this is an internal corner unit. So let me tell you what I mean by that. We are internally facing the pool up here on the second floor. And my favorite part of this floor plan is how open it feels. I'm pretty sure that's why the building decided to make this the model unit. I think it's probably the coolest floor plan that they have. And there's also a ton of cabinets and storage space. And it actually feels more like a townhome. The only caveat is that you'll see this when I walk onto the balcony. You don't get much of a view because the pergola is directly in your line of sight. So keep that in mind if you're looking at corner units on the second floor. You can easily combat that with going a few floors higher. As crazy as it sounds, some of my clients would actually like this, mainly just because of the privacy. That way nobody at the pool would really be able to peep into your unit like some of the units on the first floor. Also keep in mind that only one of the bathrooms is connected to the bedroom, which I believe it's the first one I show in this floor plan. So if you have a roommate or thinking about turning one of these into an office, it's just something to be cognizant of.
All right, so just a quick disclaimer. If you're getting any value whatsoever from this video, then you got to do this thing, just like all of these people are doing. And they're doing it for two reasons. First reason is that there are pros and cons on every single building in Dallas, and they all look great, especially if you're looking on the website. But people reach out to me because they want the tea, they want the dirt on every building. That way they can feel confident and comfortable about the decision that they're gonna be living with for the next 12 months. Second reason that people are reaching out is that I've got relationships with all the leasing offices in the Dallas area. Again, I live, eat, and breathe Dallas apartments, and I can help you capture additional incentives and move-in bonuses, which can help make your living situation just a little more affordable. And I say this in all my videos, the buildings incentivize me to bring you through the door. So it's not like you'd be cutting me a check for my service. That's being taken care of by the building. So it's absolutely no sweat off your back to go ahead and reach out. And if you've got the itch, and if you do decide to reach out, I promise that I will do absolutely the best that I can for you.
Moving over to the gym, I was expecting a larger gym just with the amount of units that you have here, and I would still say that it's a decent amount of space. Shameless plug, it's not as big as the gym at my building, but it's honest work, and they actually had a decent amount of free weights in here. It was also very, very clean and organized, which I actually prefer nowadays. Some buildings in Dallas don't have a ton of gym equipment like these two, but they are very, very clean and tidy, which is how I felt walking into this one. I believe the dumbbells went up to about 65, and they also had some loose preloaded barbells that went up to about 110. So I like seeing that. Some machines for resistance training, but not much. The key for this apartment gym is the amount of free weights, as you'll have one Stairmaster tucked into the rest of the cardio equipment on the perimeter of the room. So I'd give this one a solid 9 out of 10. If I lived here, I probably would hold on to my gym membership just because I would need the dumbbells to just go a little bit higher, and I wouldn't mind having a loose barbell. But if you're a casual gym goer, maybe you do some light dumbbell work and some cardio every now and then, you should have more than what you need. Like I said earlier, this property has multiple sections of which are all connected, and then there are 2 pools, 1 per courtyard. And I can imagine that these get busy this time of year. Again, it's currently July in Texas, so just take that for what it's worth. I was out here on a Wednesday at about 3 p.m., so had a little bit of sunlight, but not much, which in my opinion is the downside with just about any mid-rise in Dallas. If you like tanning and spend a decent amount of time in the sun, then my advice obviously would be to choose a building that has a rooftop pool like one of these, since it will be tanning time around the clock and you wouldn't have to be as particular with the times you go.
So after watching this video, maybe you think Gables Via Rosa is perfect and you're ready to move in. And if that's the case, feel free to drop me a line. Maybe the building's not your vibe. Maybe you want valet parking. Maybe you want to live in a high rise. Maybe you want a steam room inside of your building. And if you're still doing research on apartments, feel free to check out this playlist because I did a vlog tour just like this one over some of the most popular high rises and mid rises all throughout the Metroplex, which will be helpful if you're doing some more research. With that, y'all stay safe, y'all stay out of trouble, and we'll catch you in the next video. Y'all be good.